I'm Debbie.
And I'm Alison.
And we're the Poltergals. Spooky. Okay. Welcome back to the Poltergals. I'm Debbie.
And I'm Alison.
And we're the Poltergals. And this week, we're actually be talking about the USS Lexington here in Texas, located in Corpus Christi.
So, unfortunately, I didn't bring my iPad, so I'm just going to be reading off my phone.
Wow, so not prepared.
I'm sorry. I tried.
It's
I
okay.
was in a rush. I had to make breakfast for myself, then make my lunch, and then I don't have an excuse because I've been up since 7:30.
Oh my God. I did not wake up until like 10:15 this morning.
Yeah, I don't have an excuse.
It's kind of been like everybody's in a bad mood today. So, maybe this will be our mood changer. This will change our moods. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. And fun fact, so my husband is an Eagle Scout, and he's actually been here before. As part of his Eagle Scout troop. No, I've never been.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Corpus Christi, but I've never been to the USS Lexington.
Dude, it's so worth it.
So I'm excited to find out more, and then maybe I can plan a trip soon. Go to the beach.
We should.
Go to Corpus Christi.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, sounds really fun. And
Okay.
it's here in Texas, so.
I know. It's actually a reasonable spot for us to
Actually,
go
very
visit.
reasonable. Yeah.
It's just a 5-hour drive.
A
4 or
hop,
5 hours.
skip, and a jump away.
Oh, no. Okay. Well.
Let's jump into it. Or let's swim into it. Or wait. What did boats do? Let's sail into it. Let's sail into this episode.
I mean, I guess we could fly into it.
Oh, that's true. Let's get into this.
So, the ship was commissioned in 1943 Lexington, and it set more records than any other
Essex. Word of the week with Alison.
Only
Learn your ABCs with Alison. We're gonna look inside a book with Alison.
Oh, no. Oh, no. We don't do that here.
What? We're literate here? We're illiterate.
Illiterate. So, I'm so sorry, Miss Military Kid over here. Not all of us have that privilege.
I'm sorry.
I say that, but I'm a military kid myself. But that was before my dad actually had me.
We're like 6th generation military, so
Yeah.
every able-bodied man in my family has gone into the military. Except for my one gay uncle, but that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, it set more records than any of that word class carrier in the history of naval aviation.
Ooh.
So, that's pretty cool. And then the ship was the oldest working carrier in the U.S. Navy when decommissioned in 1991.
That was still before we were born.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
back
old.
in the 90s, I was in a very famous naval carrier.
I can't.
I'm in a sing-songy mood today.
Good.
So
It's one of those days.
I'm gonna some songies. We gotta update our Patreon with my new songs.
Yes.
So we gotta get new clippies.
We do.
New clippies for our Patreon.
I think there's one from last week.
Oh yeah.
So
I sing like every episode, so this would just be a recurring thing.
I mean, you did take a break for a little bit.
It's true.
So the Lexington was originally named the USS Cabot.
Cabot.
C-A-B-O-T.
No, my Cabot is.
Yeah. Yeah. But was considered, as mentioned before, in whatever carrier, Essex carrier?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, during World War II, while finishing the final construction was being completed at Massachusetts Fort River Shipyard, when word was received that the original carrier named USS Lexington has been sunk in the Coral Sea. The carrier's name was changed to Lexington on the 16th of June in 1942.
Wow.
Yeah. and then it became the 5th U.S. Navy ship to bear the name in honor of the Battle of Lexington.
Wow.
So, and then the original Lexington was sunk in the Blue Sea.
Ooh.
So
that's like naming something after the Titanic. Like, you just keep naming a ship after other ships that have sank.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like...
It's kind of like one of those, like, doomed...
I know. It's like, is this cursed? Like,
Yeah.
is the name cursed?
It's kind of like that, like, damned if you are, damned if you're not. But it's just doomed if you are and doomed if you're not.
There you go. Yeah, for real.
So, after the training, the ship joined the 5th Fleet, and the 5th Fleet was established in April 26th of 1944. And then during World War II, Lexington spent 21 months in combat.
Wow.
That's a whole lot.
Wow.
That's a whole lot. That's almost 2 years.
Wow, it's because of World War II. And now we're almost in World War III.
Whoa, and maybe it will get recommissioned.
Well, no.
If that happens, I would be so mad.
I don't know. With the state of the world right now, I just want to, like, take a moment and just, maybe even just have, like, a moment of silence. Because, like, it's just crazy what's going on right now.
Dude.
Like, it's just silence. So crazy. Yeah, like, I cannot even imagine what people in Ukraine are facing right now.
I can't imagine.
And just all the craziness that's happening. And, we've been talking about all these battles and all of this stuff that's happened. And then, like, it's like almost could happen again.
Or another story to be told.
Wow.
Right here.
Wow. Who knew? But anyway.
So
back to World War II.
The planes that were on the ship destroyed 372 enemy aircraft in the air, 475 more on the ground, and then Lexington sank or destroyed 3,000 tons of enemy cargo and damaged an additional 600,000 tons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this ship has done
that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's done some major damage.
What is it? Is it the Flex Seal that's like, that's a lot of damage?
Yeah.
I'm the Flex Seal guy. That's me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then the ship's gun shot down 15 planes and assisted in downing 5 more.
Wow.
The Japanese reported Lexington sank no less than 4 times, and yet each time the ship returned to fight again, leading the Japanese to nickname her the Blue Ghost.
Ooh, ghosties.
Yeah. So it was known as the Ghost Ship or the Blue Ghost.
Ooh. So. The Flying Dutchman.
I mean, pretty much. It's a real life Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, there we go.
So the name is a tribute to the ship and the crew and air groups that served aboard the ship, which is pretty awesome.
That is really cool.
So,
the more you know.
Yeah. And then after the war, Lexington was briefly decommissioned between the years of 1947 to 55 and was later reactivated. The ship operated primarily in the 7th Fleet out of San Diego, California, although not involved in any actual combat.
Oh, okay.
And then in 1962, the ship sailed into
Pensacola.
Florida.
Florida.
Why?
Florida.
Pensacola, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And began officially designated
a CVT-16
training ship.
Wow.
So, yeah, lots of different duties. And Corpus Christi is privileged to be selected as a permanent home and this national treasure.
Wow. Here in Texas.
Yeah, right here in Texas.
Deep
which is
in
great.
the heart of Texas.
That's where all the beautiful things are found.
Yeah.
That's why we get it.
Because we're the best.
I mean, duh.
Who knew?
And then Lexington was a recipient of 11 battle stars and the President Unit Citation.
The PUC. The PUC.
Yeah.
Presidential Unit Citation.
So, that's pretty cool. And then now it's operating as a museum. Following her decommission, she was donated, obviously, to Corpus Christi, Texas, as that museum. And in 2003 was designated as a National Historic Landmark. And though her surviving sister ships, Yorktown, Intrepid, and Hornet, carry lower, smaller numbers, Lexington was laid down and commissioned earlier compared to them, making Lexington the oldest remaining fleet carrier in the world.
So the big sister.
Yeah, it's basically the big sister.
Yeah, there we go.
So
cool. All right, awesome. Yeah, so that's a lot of the history that's happening.
Ooh,
And like I said, pretty much a lot of people in Texas, a lot of school groups, a lot of like Boy Scout groups, Girl Scout troops. Everybody goes down there to see it. It's kind of, again, just like a thing in Texas that's really cool and people get to go see. So yeah, now you guys know the history. Let's take a little break.
Commercial break.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Spooky. We're back. We're back in action. So, now that you guys heard about the history and we took a brief break, now it's time to get into the hauntings. Boo, spooky. Okay, so of course this ship has seen battles and again like sank like 50,000 times and just kept coming back. So of course there has been a few people who have lost their lives on this ship. So among the most famous sightings are actually a sailor dressed in a uniform actually helping lost guests find their way back to the deck, and a sailor in the engine room that's actually giving a lecture on how the turbines work before just vanishing into thin air. So like tourists have come in and like just like we're on the little tour like doing, because now it's operating as a museum, and then they just like see this sailor and it's like, oh no, you need to go back this way, and they're like, okay, cool, get back with their group, and they're like, yeah, that nice guy back there helped me out, and they're like, there's no one else on board. They're like, oh.
What?
Yeah. So this is actually one of the largest haunted attractions in all of South Texas. So like I said, they do a museum, they do tours. So tickets are like $30 per person and then $40 for a VIP skip the line haunting tour. So of course, please donate to our Patreon account so we can actually go. Alison, you've already been, right?
Yes, but it has been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you the vibes on that ship are just weird.
Ooh.
Like you can definitely feel everything.
Yeah, and at the end I'll have you kind of tell us like what your tour was and fun stuff. So we'll go over that. And do you have any pictures?
I don't.
No.
I was like 10.
Oh, yeah, like I said, it's like a lot of like they take a lot of kids to it.
Yeah.
Which is like, yes, let's put children in one of the most haunted locations
Not
in
the
South
brightest
Texas.
idea, but
but you know what?
Texas
they say like
education.
Texas education. But yeah, so of course you can go. And then Judith Whipple, the historian at the time, actually spoke to ghost hunters. She walks the crew to the flight deck and then points at a Japanese flag on the island that marks the spot where a Japanese plane carrying a 50-pound bomb actually crashed into the ship. And according to Whipple, that crash took the lives of 50 U.S. sailors and injured at least 135 aboard the ship.
Dang.
So, like I was saying, many people have lost their lives on this ship. And it's said that those that died from the incident still haunt the ship to this day. And, like, they can, like, track back to that exact moment, and they can tell like it's the soldiers that are reliving that moment or the energy from that moment. And again, like there's historical evidence, and they can like backtrack it and like actually fact check the ghost encounters.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then several soldiers have been killed on this boat. The most massive amount of death that occurred actually once happened when the actual plane crashed into the ship. Many individuals have claimed that they've seen an apparition on the ship that appears to be a man from the Second World War era. When individuals see this apparition, they find that he quickly seems to just fade out like a light switch.
What?
Yeah. And then, of course, there's several, like, residual hauntings. So that's what we talk about, like, you know, like, the energies in the space is just from being, you know, being active for so long and having so many people put their energies into the space. So with these residual hauntings are, like, an energy or, like, an emotional, that's, like, emotion that's, like, heightened at the time in a certain area. So, of course, if you're at war, I think your emotions are going to be pretty heightened.
Yeah.
And in some instances, people have indicated that they've actually heard noises that sound similar to like distant weapons being fired. And then they've heard other like war noises while on board of the Lexington. And again, it's just said that it's like residual, either sounds, feelings, emotions, that kind of thing.
Dang.
And then at one point, actually, a storm occurred in the area where this haunted ship is stationed. And an employee stated that he actually could hear screams on board. As lightning flashed across the sky, he was able to capture a visual of several men running across the deck area. And yet no one was actually there.
Which is creepy.
Like, I just got goosebumps. Like, ooh.
I mean, I could imagine the kind of, like, flashback that brought to the soldiers.
Oof. I know. Like, lightning crashing, bombs going off.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm sure there's, obviously so many parallels. The bright flash, the sound.
Yeah. I'm going to try and find that picture, and I'll try and post it on our social media. So you guys can see what was found. And then in certain areas of the USS Lexington, such as the switch room, many individuals have felt a high level of discomfort. In some cases, these individuals have actually fallen ill after going into this room. One of the people that this happened to was Donna from the TAPS team of Ghost Hunters. Not Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. I got last week's episode mixed up, so I said Ghost Hunters when I meant Ghost Adventures. But this week it is Ghost Hunters, not Ghost Adventures. And then in the engine room of the USS Lexington, many individuals have indicated that they've, again, heard screams.
Yes.
And then these screams are both of men and women. So not even just soldiers. This is actually the room that was hit the hardest when the Japanese plane wrecked into the haunted ship. So you know that plane crash that I was just saying. So many people died from that one incident alone. And again, they have that historical evidence to back up. Like, that's probably why. Where the biggest haunting incident comes from. But yeah. And then the Lexington was actually the first U.S. carrier to have female crewmates. So that's pretty cool. So, equality.
Right.
Oh my God, and we're filming this in Women's History Month.
What?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at us go.
And the day we're actually recording this is the day after International Women's Day.
Oh.
So, to all you women out there, thanks for being women.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rock.
Yeah.
You're cool.
Thanks for setting us up.
Yeah.
Women in the past for today.
Yeah, you go, female crewmates on the USS Lexington.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you died.
I'm sure at this point they are. If I love you, Betty White, but if Betty White could not make it, no one in that time period can. I'm sorry.
You know, okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, so the U.S. carriers were the first one to have female crewmates, and so that's why it said that you can hear both the screams of men and women, which is actually quite unusual. And then on the same episode of Ghost Hunters, the team actually concluded that they heard a female voice during their investigation that did not belong to anybody on their own crew. So it may have been one of the previous crewmates aboard the USS Lexington. And they have like an EVP of the female ghost voice.
Which, if you don't know what an EVP is, it's an electronical voice phenomenon.
Phenomena. Do, 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 do.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But yeah, so of course you can now take the haunted ghost tour. And then of course there's like the non-spooky tour, where it's just like, you know, the traditional museum tour. You can go around. And now tell us about your experiences on board when you were but a wee lass.
Oh man, that was, so I think at this point it was actually with my parents, and we went during normal museum hours, and we just did the self-tour thing and everything. But I got creepy vibes off of it.
And you were only like 10. So don't they say like kids are like more susceptible to like paranormal feelings?
They say anywhere from the ages, they say typically 7 or 8, but they can say that you could add a year or two to that, just because of how obviously in today's society that people always get told, no, that's not true, that's not real.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends on how much you get told that and how much you believe it.
And what your, like different people have different feelings, different emotions. And maybe, I'm an empath. So it's like me an empath sensing that the ship is haunted.
Well, it was weird because at one point, one of the bathrooms is like you have to go into like the common area where they would eat and everything. And so I was like, I'm not going down there by myself.
Ooh.
Because that's how bad of a vibe I got.
Ew.
It was like, I will not do it. And like, no joke, my stepmom had to go down there with me.
She was like, please hold my hand.
She was like so mad. She goes, I don't know why you can't just go by yourself. You're 10.
Because I'm in a haunted boat.
Yeah.
What do you want, Mom? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know what you want me to do, but okay.
I'm like literally 10. Yeah. I'm like literally actually 10.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. And then where the bombing took place, they actually, instead of completely fixing it, they just made it into a theater.
What?
So it's like now a movie theater that talks about the Lexington.
That's actually kind of cool though.
Yeah. So it's just like this gaping hole. I'd say probably about the size of this room.
Yeah.
And
they're like, yes, this is where a plane crashed on the side of our ship. We're gonna make it a theater.
They're like, it's now a theater that's gonna talk about the history. Which is pretty cool, but then it's also like now you're adding a whole bunch of like explosions and that one tiny confined area, and there's no telling what's actually going on.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but I know that they do like overnight stays, like so, like,
yeah, that might have been what my husband did. I'm not sure.
Like I know Alamo does it.
Yeah.
A few other places, obviously, like Stanley Hotel, which is still an operating hotel.
Stanley, wasn't that like our first episode?
Yes.
Shout out to our first episode, Stanley Hotel. Flashback. Please go listen to it. I bet we sound like terrible though. Like that was like before
that
we knew what we
episode.
were
I'm not
doing.
gonna lie to you, it was horrible.
I mean, we're only like 23 episodes in, but I feel like we're so much better now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we still have room for improvement. So
surprisingly, that's still our number one standing episode.
Wow.
So it was the worst as far as audio, but it is our number one.
Well, because most people when they start listening to a new podcast, they either listen to the most recent episode or they listen to your first episode. So
that's true.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but so there is overnight stays there, and you could hear. It said that you could hear actual planes going, like landing, coming down, and then normal like what that day-to-day life back then would have been.
Wow.
And then it's like it's creepy to think that that's what you're hearing. Like you're literally listening to the horrors of what happened.
I thought you said we're listening to the horrors of the past.
Horrors of the past. Yes.
The horrors.
The horrors.
The horror.
The horrors.
Horrors.
Those.
The horror. Oh my god. Ooh, ooh. My horrors.
No.
I'm a cat girl. Yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Please continue with your story.
This is taking a turn. Yikes.
We're on the wrong podcast.
It's another podcast that has yet to be created.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that the ship is like that bluish gray, which I'm sure is all
Blue
Navy.
Ghost.
All Navy ships, I think. But I think it's crazy that the Japanese were so scared of the ship.
Yeah.
That's what they named it.
The Blue Ghost.
Yeah.
And we love us some ghosts.
Well, what's weird is that I also heard that that ship will sometimes, like, during war, did not show up on radar.
Whoa.
Like, for whatever reason, there's something about it, like, would not show until you visibly saw it. And once you saw it, that's when it came up on radar.
Yeah. I'll have to, there was recently a story. Now, this is like, listen, I've not done any research on this, which I might need to. But I can't remember what ship, but there was actually a ship, I think it was during World War II, that they say, like, did, like, time travel? Or like time traveled. Have you ever heard this story before?
No.
So and again, I'm not sure if it was World War II. Again, this is like me remembering a side memory of a side memory. But basically there's a story of this like ship that like was having top secret government like facilities on board.
What?
And I don't think it was the USS Lexington. We'll have to figure it out for maybe a future episode. We love hinting at future episodes. But yeah, so the ship is actually said to have time traveled. So they were sailing in the middle of the sea and there was a blip in time. And I don't remember if the ship like came back or if it was just lost or what. But it was just due to like some like naval, they were trying to do like stealth technology, but it ended up being like a time travel technology.
What?
So that might be a story for later.
Oh.
But yeah, and again, if anybody has any more information on this, please DM us or tell me more. Because, like, again, this is like a half memory of a half memory. So if anybody knows any more about what I'm talking about, or if I just completely made this up, totally fair.
Either way it goes, we won't be upset.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, let us know. I think that's everything for this week. Did you have any other stories to tell?
I don't think so, man.
I mean, you were 10, so.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. So last year, when I first got hired here, I went out for my birthday because that's when I was like barely video audio editing anything. So I was able to go out for my birthday to Rockport, Texas, which is about 30 minutes north of Corpus. It was me, my husband, and my sister, and we came this close to drive over there just to visit it.
Aww.
But then we're like, no, it's okay.
Next trip. Maybe this summer we'll go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and of course, if you guys have any ideas of places we can go, remember, we're based in Texas, unfortunately.
Yes.
But yeah, if you guys can think of anywhere, please send us a DM, send us a comment, let us know where we should go, and we'll start planning some more episodes.
Oh, yeah. And possibly some live episodes.
Ooh, more spooky live episodes.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's everything for this week.
It sure is. See y'all next week.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Poltergals,
a Rogue Media Network podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.